We have been long overdue for some quality Starfire content, and thanks to Nightwing Issue 138, we finally got some. Yes, she did have to travel outside of Titans to get it, but that's really not surprising at this point. So Dick Grayson is currently going through it. He was recently involved in a massive pileup on this new superhighway in Bloodhaven City that resulted in the deaths of 9 people. And now he might be brought up on charges for manslaughter. Barbara Gordon just got locked up in Supermax Penitentiary, and there's a 300-year-old witch in the city who wants vengeance against the city. And among all of that, there's a farmer who lives on the edge of the city who just got attacked by what he describes as the devil. His cattle has been mutilated and he's been left with some gnarly scars. And while he doesn't exactly trust Nightwing, he's got no one else to turn to. So the Grey Son of Gotham gets to sleuthing in Bloodhaven, and it doesn't take him long to get some shocking results. And now there's only one person for him to call. He waits for said person as dusk turns to night, and the dark sky is immediately lit up. It's Starfire, of course, descending upon him like the golden angel she is, with hair so luxurious and long that if Medusa saw it, she just wouldn't even bother getting out of bed. Nightwing just had to reach out to Starfire when he found out the blood was Scion in origin. But when she hears the name uttered, she's unfazed, because that was a long time ago. She's moved on from that period of her life. Corey immediately switches gears and asks Dick if he's alright. She notices how exhausted he looks, and of course Dick just laughs her remark off, chalking it up to Tamaranian candor that he's so familiar with. Now normally this type of remark would trigger a romp down memory lane, one that might just end in some adult fun time. And if I remember correctly, it's usually Dick that initiates, but Starfire's not biting this time. Noticing Corey's utter lack of amusement, Dick apologizes, but Starfire doesn't know what he's apologizing for. Finally, Dick comes clean about just how much is on his mind right now. The car crash, the so-called witch who caused it, Babs going to prison, and most of all, Dick feeling like he deserves it. Like he just should be raked over the coals by the families of the deceased. But Starfire just doesn't get it. This human need to suffer. Then Corey goes into full mommy mode, asking when's the last time he slept and ate. But before Dick can answer properly, he shoves Corey out of the way, as a horrifying figure leaps out of the bushes. The so-called Jersey Devil finally makes itself known. Nightwing goes to work with his Eskrima sticks, and notices how unintelligent it appears for a Scion. But all Starfire sees is a monster. She fires 2 starbolts at the alien menace, setting it ablaze. I love the sound the Scion makes when it's on fire. It's the same as the onomatopoeia used for Corey's starbolts. And Corey instantly realizes the mistake she made as the creature runs off into the night, right back into the woods, on fire. Great job. But luckily, nothing catches fire, and they catch up to it right after it gives up the ghost. It comes to a stop just a few feet away from its spaceship, which is so consumed by vegetation, Corey suspects that it's been here for decades. She wastes no time activating the door, and goes right inside with Dick following behind her. As they go deeper into the ship, they hear someone speaking out to them. It's the ship itself, or rather, its pilot. His name is Vikil Shivik, and according to him, he was sent to Earth in pursuit of the violent invader, Koriand'r of Tamaran. But as he entered Earth's atmosphere, his spaceship began to malfunction, causing the Scion to feel the full agonizing heat of atmospheric entry. So he placed his body in stasis and uploaded his consciousness to the ship's computer, ensuring that he'd survive entry one way or another. Then he gives explicit instructions to the pair. If his body has survived, do not let it leave the chamber on its own. His consciousness is separated from it, so it will be acting on pure, dangerous instinct. He says it shouldn't be a problem transferring his consciousness back to his body, and Starfire offers to help by frying the computer.
Bitch, what?
Nightwing immediately calls her out, asking Corey why she needs to kill his mind when she's already killed the body. But according to Corey, the words from the ship's computer aren't live, it's a loop, and the pair listen as the exact same message plays again from the start. This Scion is being forced to relive its last painful moments over and over again, and by destroying the ship's computer, Koriand'r is setting him free. There once was a time where Cory would have gladly let this scion suffer, but that day is not today. This isn't the act of cruelty Dick thought it was, it's an act of mercy. Reliving the same cycle of pain and agony is no existence at all in her eyes, and she's sure that if he had the choice, he'd gladly take any way out of that hell. Dick thanks Cory and says he understands, but Koriand'r is not so sure. It's crazy how just 13 pages in someone else's book has given Koriand'r more respect, more character development, and more love than all of Titans for the past couple of years. We see how much Cory has grown as a character, in how she deals with the Scion, and in how she deals with Richard. And yes, I just had to call him Richard at least once, because Dan Waters thought it was a good idea. I don't have many complaints about the writing, but having her call him Richard is definitely one of the choices of all time. Hell, does anyone who knows this man call him Richard? She also goes back and forth between calling him Richard and calling him Dick, and it's just weird. Then there's Dick's line about the Scions torturing Starfire for 6 years. I have no idea where that number came from. She was enslaved for 6 years in her pre-Crisis origin, but she was only experimented on once by the Scions. While in her New 52 origin, she was operated on multiple times during her years of captivity. But that took place over a 10-year period, so this really doesn't fit with either version of her origin, unless there's a third origin that I'm forgetting. But that's just a nitpick. Honestly, I had to try to find things to dislike about this issue. The whole thing is just very mature, in the best way. It treats these characters like people who have a very long history and who clearly care for each other. I especially love how Cory's the one who's moved on. The carousel of their relationship is a tired one, to say the absolute least. And I'm glad she chose to just not even get on this time. And that doesn't just apply to Dick Grayson. Her traumatic past, her golden years with the Titans, Cory's been psychologically time-locked in those periods of her life for years. Hell, at one point, she was in therapy because of it, because she could not move on. Then there's her 2015 series, where the two partner up for a couple issues and briefly rekindle their romance before Dick says goodbye again, leaving Cory to hold all the pieces again. To be fair, she did break up with him and fly off into space without even saying goodbye, so it's not like she's never been the one to do that herself. But that's just part of the problem. This is a cycle that both of them have kept rotating. And when she calls out the human need to pick at your scabs until you bleed all over again, that's just peak Tamaranian wisdom. There are people who are very present-minded, always focused on what's happening now, sometimes to a fault. And of course, there's her treatment of the Scion, which, as I said earlier, is a huge sign of Cory's growth. She has shown disdain for any member of the Scion race that she's come across, even good ones. Like, there was one time where she had to work with a member of the Green Lantern Corps who just happened to be a Scion woman, and Cory just couldn't believe it. She straight up attacked her, unprovoked. They were eventually able to work together, but it took some convincing on Cory's part. So she went from barely being able to work with a good Scion to mercy killing a Scion who definitely saw her as an enemy. And in this day and age, this is the type of stories we need Cory to be in. Ones that show her growth, her maturity. And honestly, I loved how this was separate from everything going on in Titans right now, which I don't even want to talk about. It's low-key, high-key some bullshit, but I do owe you guys an update on what's going on over there. So let's transition over to the Titans side of things.